Good morning, Facebook. I'm going to get Instagram going here. Happy Monday. We are going live. All right. We are live on Instagram and Facebook here. Welcome, welcome. PT on Ice. It is Monday morning. Good morning, Jeff. How's it going? It is Monday morning and we are talking about pregnancy and postpartum. So hashtag PPP on ice for the PT on Ice episode. I am Dr. Alexis Morgan and I am one of two lead faculty for our fitness athlete pregnancy and postpartum division. And today is day one of our cohort of 2021. And oh my gosh, we're so pumped. Already got everyone chiming in, talking, having good discussions about where they are, where they're from, and I can already tell it's just going to be an awesome cohort. So this week in our content in the course, we are going through the female athlete, preconception, pregnancy loss, REDS, and fertility. So it's going to be a really fun next 8 weeks in our course. We've already sold out of this course. We've actually already got a handful signed up in our March cohort, which is crazy. Your response to this course has just been wonderful as we've been revamping it. So if this interests you, please go ahead and sign up at ptonice.com, and there you can find all of our other courses as well. So many different live courses coming up. We've got several online courses starting today, and we've got a good 2021 ahead of us. So with that being said, let's go ahead and jump into our topic today. So it is such a fun time to be a physical therapist right now. We, like years ago, Jeff Moore on the podcast would be saying like the bagels are going to be going the other way, meaning that we are no longer going to be bringing bagels to the physicians, but it's going to come the opposite way. And here in our practice, it is heading in that direction. So we are turning into that primary care role for our patients. And we're the ones that are helping our patients find a primary care doctor. So it is definitely an interesting time. And it means though that we have got to be very, very diligent in screening our patients because we are that primary care role. And so we need to know when and who to refer to and be able to kind of be that Jack and Jill of all trades. So when I hear I don't treat postpartum women, I really want to challenge you. First of all, how are you defining postpartum? The traditional definition is 6 weeks after childbirth. So the more modern definition of postpartum is 1 year. Some experts even say postpartum is forever. So let's just talk about kind of that word postpartum. Post, of course, means after, and partum is the original term, and that means the act of giving birth. So postpartum really means after having given birth. So if you have females that have had children at some point in their lifetime, you're seeing the postpartum population. And so let's think about this for a minute. Those women who have had at least one child and have given birth, on average, that person has spent 9 months being pregnant. That's 40 weeks. That's 280 days. So much change occurs during this time of being pregnant, from increase in blood volume, different levels of hormones, oxygen consumption goes up. I mean, so many changes in all of the systems within the human body. Not to mention our bread and butter, the musculoskeletal system. So we have an increase in that lordotic curve. There's an upward pressure onto the diaphragm, which completely changes the way our individuals are able to even breathe, especially when we start talking about the fitness athlete and exercising. If they've got that fetus pressing up against that diaphragm, the ribs are expanding and they're having to change completely the way they're breathing. And of course, we talk about this a lot. The pressure down onto the pelvic floor changes that system too. And then anteriorly, we've got, and that's kind of the one change that everyone notices and talks about, and that's the abdominal wall spreads. It weakens as it lengthens. Those muscular tissues lengthen and it gets to where it's really hard to contract while pregnant. So all of these changes, that's just pregnancy changes. Not to mention the delivery and the various experiences that the women can have during that period as well. So for a lot of these women, they were not fully rehabilitated after having a child, especially when we start talking about these women who have 10-year-olds, 15-year-olds, 20-year-olds. There, we're still very, very limited in our country and worldwide on having experts in this space, in rehabilitating, in returning to fitness 100% after having a baby. It's really, really a struggle, and hence the reason why we created this course. But so many of these individuals never fully rehabilitated, and there may actually be still some issues that you can help them with even years down the road. So what are some of those things that they may need help with, these functional kind of problems or deficits? Well, first of all, let's talk about what we already know. We already know in the musculoskeletal system, what's the number one risk of an injury? It's having a prior injury, right? We always talk about that. And we kind of have to wonder, is it because the tissues are actually different still, or is it because we never fully rehabilitated that person back to the things that they want and love to do? So if we know this in a shoulder, in a hip, and a knee, why don't we think about this? Why don't we talk about this in the pelvic floor or in the anterior abdominal wall? This really could have some implications for you, for your plan of care with your athlete in front of you, even if they're here for their shoulder, for instance, or their low back. So I want to go through here just 3 things that could be an issue with your postpartum athletes right now, your postpartum patients, and things that you can do to help them today without having to refer to an internal pelvic floor specialist. So number 1, fear avoidance behaviors. We talk a lot about this in our pain course and in our spine courses and really in all of these, because when people have an experience of an injury or of a change in their system, coming back to it can be really, really scary, especially if they didn't have or don't have expert guidance. So what does that sound like? It sounds like, no, I don't get on the bar anymore. I'm too heavy. I still haven't lost my baby weight. Or my core is just too weak. It's separated and I cannot do that or else I'll be broken. These are comments that I have heard from women years after having child. So another one, my pelvic floor destroyed after having kids. It's gone. No more jumping for me. No box jumps. Can't do it. These are issues that we can help them with. We know that progressive overload graded exposure, we can help get them back to these exercises. Why is that important? Well, if they're not returning to pull-ups because they're afraid to get on the bar, that can really impact their ability to build strength around the shoulder, or not returning to deadlifts because they're afraid to pick up that bar. Well, that can impact their ability to build strength in their back, and we know how beneficial that is. So with this, with the fear avoidance behaviors, first of all, we got to know if it's on board. Are we asking our clients like, hey, what were you once able to do that you're no longer able to do? How can we look at your entire picture here and get you back to all of the things that you want to do? Or maybe you never did them, but that's a bucket list item. We can help our folks with that. It doesn't matter that they've had kids. We can help them, and that's such a cool space to be in. So graded exposure and progressive overload, when we start talking about those, are seeing those fear avoidance behaviors. Second thing, see this a lot at the gym, especially in our classes with a lot of the mamas. Urgency. Oh no, I gotta pee and I gotta pee right now. That's that urgency. It looks like going to the bathroom before class, going to the bathroom right after the warm up, especially if we've got any kind of jumping on board, and going to the bathroom right after the one. 3 times in 1 hour. That's excessive. That's not going to be helpful for them. We know we can't fully void all of the urine out anyway, so they're not helping themselves. They just think they are. The impact there, especially in our plan of care, again, even if we're not seeing them for what we think of as postpartum issues, they're missing some of the warm up. They're not able to fully focus on the exercise at hand because they're worried about going to the bathroom. They're missing that aspect. They're having to run back and forth, and this is impacting their workouts, and therefore it's going to impact their risk of injury or their return from the injury that they're seeing you for. So asking about these behaviors and asking about these issues, we can begin to educate them and let them know, like, hey, pee when it makes sense. Drink your water. If you've got a full bladder, go. Otherwise, take a deep breath, relax. You're not going to be able to get all of that out anyway. You need to do some pelvic floor contractions. That can help reduce that urge to want to go. Do that and allow yourself to return to that full workout and pee when it makes sense. And that's really going to help them get through that workout. A lot of people, they just don't know. And it's just plain sharing information that can really impact their lives. The third thing that we may see in our postpartum women, especially if they were not fully rehabbed, is poor mechanics. We see this a lot with lifting, with barbell movements, with jumping, running, and gymnastics. Often, especially if women are coming back postpartum without expert guidance, they get into that high intensity workout without building their foundations. We talk about in our courses with clinical management of the fitness athlete, like we quote Coach Glassman, mechanics, consistency, then intensity. That applies to these postpartum women. If they didn't reset their mechanics in the early postpartum period, got straight back into intensity before they were consistently mechanically sound with their movements, that can lead to issues. It looks like not finding that neutral spine position when they're going into their squats, or being on the rig and never hitting that fully hollow position while they're exercising. It could be, once again, the cause of the musculoskeletal problem that they're seeing you for. Especially see that with shoulders. They're never hitting that hollow position. They're flailing on the bar. Of course, they're going to get some shoulder issues at some point with just flailing around on the bar. But that comes back to rehabilitating the core, building strength from within at the very base, at the foundation, and then progressively again overloading into that hollow hold on the bar and that kipping. All of that can impact your plan of care. So what do we have to do? We have to check her movements. We got to watch her move. If you don't have that in the clinic, you need to see her videos of her doing it at the gym. Talk to her coach. Look at it in the clinic. Look at it videoed from fatigue and how she looks like. All of these things will impact her care. Go back to the basics. If you're seeing an issue here, go back to the basics. Find that hollow hold position, that nice and tucked up position. Knees are in, shoulder blades are up, and we're just holding here kind of in that little ball, that dead bug position, building strength. It's amazing how many individuals are very unable to find that position, and we can help with that. And that impacts their ability to be more robust. So the three things that you are likely seeing, or that it's seeing you, I don't know if you're seeing it, but with our postpartum women, is fear avoidance behaviors, urgency at the gym, I gotta pee now, I gotta go multiple times, and poor mechanics. And so dive into these movements with your athletes, ask questions about these issues, and help them along the way. This will help build a more robust human, which is, after all, what we're all here to do anyway. They're not really hard. They're actually really, really simple. It just requires that mindset of going back to the basics. So another point is that it's never too late to ask. Even if she's 10 years or 15 years or more postpartum, it's never too late to ask them questions about their beliefs and their bodies. You may be surprised at what you hear. And there's all of these things we can help with as the movement experts in this space. So I hope this challenges you to have these conversations, to watch their movements, and to really look at it from a holistic picture, particularly when we're talking about these postpartum athletes. It doesn't matter if they don't have an infant in hand. These issues could last, particularly when we're talking about the women who had their babies before all of this information was out there. If you feel like you need some guidance in this area, we would love to have you in our March cohort. This is an area that we would love for you to learn more, to be able to have these conversations with your clients. We talk about the labor and delivery and the types, and that the way that it impacts our athletes, and pelvic floor dysfunction, and how to really get after that, even as a non-internal therapist. And then, of course, we talk about returning to gymnastics and lifting, running, endurance, conditioning, all of these things. So if you are feeling like you're a little lost in the pelvic floor or in the postpartum world, join our cohort. We go through it all. It's a super fun class, and really we're just here to do the best for our clients that are before us. So I hope that helps you all. Have an amazing Monday in the clinic, and holler at us. Post on the comments below your thoughts and ideas, your questions about this topic. I'd love to talk to you. All right. Have a good Monday.
Hey, thanks for tuning in to the PT on Ice Daily Show. If you enjoyed this content, head on over to iTunes and leave us a review. And be sure to check us out on Facebook and Instagram at the Institute of Clinical Excellence. If you're interested in getting plugged into more ICE content on a weekly basis while earning CEUs from home, check out our virtual ICE online mentorship program at ptonice.com. While you're there, sign up for our Hump Day Hustling newsletter for a free email every Wednesday morning with our top 5 research articles and social media posts that we think are worth reading. Head over to ptonice.com and scroll to the bottom of the page to sign up.